You're listening to Food Tech Talk, supply chain insights from farm to fork, a podcast discussing the latest trends and technology in the food and supplement industries, featuring conversations with regulatory experts, quality and safety champions, and thought leaders across the industry. With your hosts, Lydia Adams and Katie Jones. Let's jump right in. Hello, my name is Lydia Adams. I am the VP of Marketing at Trustwell, and I am joined today by Katie Jones, who you guys will recognize as your host of our Trustwell podcast. Welcome, Katie.
Thank you so much, Lydia.
So today we're having a little bit of a mini episode to talk about the podcast, some changes going on. I think the biggest one I wanted to highlight was that Katie is now our CEO of Trustwell. Congratulations, Katie.
Thank you so much. So excited to have you joining us as a host on the podcast. I'm really excited for our listeners to get to know you more. And you've done such an amazing job in our marketing efforts at Trustwell, and especially around raising attention around the brand and our new website and all of the resources that we offer our customers. I'm really excited to have Lydia join as a host, and so excited to be transitioning into the role of CEO at Trustwell. It's been over 8 years in the food industry since starting with Food Logic in 2015 and going through just a significant amount of change and evolution in the food industry over those last 8 years. And really excited to see what's coming next, especially for the podcast and the guests that we're going to have on in 2024, and excited to see what's coming.
And one of the reasons we're here today as well is to talk about our name change. We have rebranded our podcast to Food Tech Talk, supply chain insights from farm to fork. And so I know we have a history of bringing great content out into the marketplace. So I was hoping, Katie, that you could speak to why we started the podcast, and then we can talk about what we have going forward.
When we launched the podcast last year, it really was just about bringing really great expertise, including our own, actually, on the podcast, and just talking with some amazing guests across the food industry to talk about a wide variety of topics, from women in food safety to leadership to the importance of raising awareness about foodborne illness. So we had really great guests like Dr. Darren Detweiler and Bill Marler, as well as our own expertise, and really great episodes. So I think the content itself from the podcast that we did last year, really exceptional. Just excited to see that grow and evolve as we've launched this rebranded podcast.
Part of the reason for that is that it's not really just about us. This podcast is about the full supply chain, about the industry, about where we're heading together. And I just love that this is going to bring together so many different perspectives, so many things to talk about. And at Trustwell, that's really why we're here, right? Is because we offer a lot of expertise in these areas. And so being able to talk to these others within the industry that share that passion that we have of why we're on a mission to change the food industry. And I'd love to hear specifically from you, Katie, about how that's evolved and where we are as a company, and kind of like how we're going to interject a lot of that expertise into this particular podcast.
Yeah, I think we're going to continue to discuss the latest trends and technology in the industry, food, and even some supplements content as well. Bring on regulatory experts, the quality and safety champions that we see across the industry, and continue engaging with thought leaders. And I think that's really what I see both internally and externally, bringing together just really smart people in the food industry to talk about the latest trends and forces that our listeners are just really interested in, and topics from regulatory compliance to sustainability to food traceability and transparency across the supply chain.
And I think this is a good opportunity for anyone who's maybe new to us or hasn't been listening for a while to kind of reintroduce Trustwell, who we are. For folks that don't know, Katie just mentioned that the coming together of two really well-known brands within the food industry, Food Logic and Esha, which has our Genesis product. So Katie, since you are our CEO, if you don't mind going into kind of like who we are at Trustwell and what we offer to the industry.
Absolutely. When I talk about the combination of Food Logic and Genesis, there's often a lot of excitement. I'm out at trade shows and customer meetings and all sorts of events that I mention. There's a better way to connect R&D and food formulation with supplier management, traceability, and recall, right? Those two functions typically have been siloed, and we're on a mission to really bring those together and offer just a higher level of connectivity across the business. And, there's a lot of excitement around in the industry in general, right? As we're seeing more regulation combined with increased consumer pressure. So, our software coming together to offer food companies that peace of mind when it comes to what they need from a regulatory standpoint, reducing the burden that many of these manual processes put at the risk, really, that companies are under when they have to complete these processes, whether it's a supplier audit to managing traceability or the formulation and reformulation of ingredients and recipes. All of these manual processes coming together with a greater ability to have visibility into what they're doing. So at the end of the day, we're offering that faster speed to formulation. We're offering increased brand reputation and protection, and then also ultimately, obviously, that regulatory compliance. So really excited. I just can't say enough about the amazing team that we have here, members of our support team and account management team that have been with the company for 20 plus years, the same individuals, making sure that the quality of the data in our nutrition database that backs Genesis to obviously the individuals that are helping us implement traceability with Food Logic. So I think really that's what I'm most excited about is the members of the team that make up the company, and then obviously the really great software products that we offer the industry.
I'm also glad that we have this opportunity to bring some of the Trustwell expertise, some folks that we have in-house that are regulatory experts and compliance, and bring them on to share the knowledge that we have with the industry as well. So thank you for that. That's really it for this little mini episode. We just wanted to share some awesome things coming. We are going to be speaking with some industry giants, so stay tuned and please subscribe. And if you want to learn more about Trustwell and all the stuff that we were talking about with our offerings, feel free to visit our website, trustwell.com. And in the meantime, we can't wait to see you in a few weeks. So thank you so much for listening. And thanks, Katie, for joining me.
Absolutely, Lydia. Super excited to have you joining me in the podcast.
Thank you for joining us for another bite-sized nugget of food tech talk, supply chain insights from farm to fork. To learn more about Trustwell and its technology platform that connects product formulation, nutrition analysis, and compliant labeling with traceability, recall readiness, and supply chain transparency, please visit www.trustwell.com. Thanks for listening.